In one of the world's most vibrant and rapidly developing nations, a silent revolution is unfolding, not one with chants or protest signs, but one that is quietly reshaping the very fabric of society. This is not a battle fought on the streets but in the hearts and minds of the youth of China. What if the real protest in China today isn't about taking to the streets? What if it's about giving up entirely? Meet Bailan, the growing movement of China's youth who have chosen to disconnect from a system that they feel offers them no future. In recent years, Bailan has exploded across Chinese social media, especially among the youth. But what does this term really mean? Bailan comes from the world of sports, specifically basketball, where it describes the act of intentionally losing a game when victory is no longer possible. For many young people in China today, Bailan is no longer just a sports metaphor, it's a way of life, a silent rebellion against the relentless competition and crushing expectations of their society. As China grapples with its soaring housing prices and growing economic challenges, young people are beginning to ask themselves, what's the point of trying? The rise of Bailan reflects the collective feeling of frustration, a silent protest against a system that doesn't seem to offer any opportunities for them. But what's different about this movement is its silence. No loud chants or protests in the streets, just quiet disengagement, where young people choose to give up instead of fighting for a future that feels impossible to reach. This movement, though seemingly passive, speaks volumes. It's not just about resigning to failure, but about withdrawing from a society that demands more than they can give. So, what does this mean for the future of China? What happens when the voices of a generation aren't raised in protest, but instead quiet their cries, choosing to let things rot? This is the story of Bailan, the youth's silent protest against a world they feel has left them behind. And it's a protest that is reshaping the future of China. In 2022, China's youth unemployment rate soared to a staggering 19.9%, a level that sent shockwaves through the country's economy. The once thriving opportunities for young graduates and workers started to fade. Instead of excitement about career paths and future success, many are now facing an uncertain and bleak future. For many young people, the dream of achieving success through hard work is becoming more of a myth. Graduates are overqualified for many entry-level jobs and underqualified for more specialized positions. The sheer volume of competition and the inaccessibility of job markets have left a growing number of youths feeling locked out of their own future. But the challenges don't end with unemployment. The high cost of living, especially housing, is making it even harder for young people to see a way forward. In cities like Beijing and Shanghai, young workers are often unable to afford the basic necessities like housing, let alone aspire to the life they had hoped for. As inflation rises, job opportunities shrink, and the cost of living skyrockets, more and more young people are facing a future where they are no longer certain they will ever be able to afford a house, start a family, or even find long-term job security. In a society that has long emphasized success and material wealth, the constant promises of prosperity through hard work are becoming a bitter irony for those who are struggling just to survive. This has led many to abandon the idea of striving for success, instead choosing to adopt a more resigned attitude. The rise of Bailan is a direct response to these pressures. It's not just about giving up, it's about rejecting the system that promises success but doesn't deliver. Instead of fighting an uphill battle, many young people are choosing a path of disengagement, stepping away from expectations and opting to let it all rot. What started as a personal coping mechanism has morphed into a social movement, gaining traction across China. Bailan has become a widespread cultural phenomenon, especially on social media platforms like Weibo and Xiaohongshu. It's not just an attitude, it's a collective feeling, a way for young people to express their frustration and their decision to stop fighting a system that no longer seems to care. The Bailan movement, while silent, is no less impactful. It's not about raising voices in the streets, but about raising awareness within a generation that has found itself at the mercy of a system that promises much but delivers little. The youth may not be protesting in the traditional sense, but their refusal to participate speaks volumes about their disillusionment. While Bailan may seem like a personal choice to some, its economic consequences are deeply felt. In a country where the youth workforce has been a significant driver of growth, a disengaged generation is having an undeniable impact on productivity and the economy at large. The result? A ripple effect across multiple sectors, from manufacturing to services. In 2024, China saw an unprecedented rise in the number of job vacancies that remained unfilled for months. The disillusionment caused by bylaw has resulted in a generation of young people reluctant to pursue jobs, even those that are available. The government's initiatives to increase job creation have not been enough to counteract the widespread sense of futility that many young people feel. It's not just about youth unemployment. The effect of bylaw is rippling through the entire consumer economy. With young people disengaging from work and productivity, spending has dropped. In the retail and service sectors, businesses are feeling the sting as consumer spending has sharply decreased. It's clear that bylaw is contributing to a cycle of economic stagnation. As youth withdraw from the economy, the demand for goods and services falls, leading to further economic slowdown. What's worse, the lack of new workers and consumers means that recovery is not just a matter of economic policy, it's a matter of addressing deep-rooted feelings of hopelessness and disengagement. But it's not just traditional industries that are feeling the pain. Even the technology sector, which has been a key driver of China's rise, is now experiencing a decline in innovation. Many young people in tech are checking out, no longer bringing the same level of passion and creativity to their jobs. The result is a stifling of innovation, something that China has long relied on for growth. The bylaw phenomenon is also stalling entrepreneurial spirit. In a country that has seen rapid growth in startups and tech businesses, the apathy and disillusionment of the youth are making it harder for new ideas to take flight. Without young entrepreneurs willing to take risks and create the next wave of innovation, the economy could face long-term stagnation. As the economic consequences of bylaw become more apparent, the Chinese government is beginning to take note. The government's push for youth engagement in the economy has become a matter of national priority. However, policymakers face an uphill battle, as the root causes of this disengagement go beyond just economic policies. Despite efforts by the government to create more job opportunities and provide financial support, many young people feel that these efforts are simply too little, too late. The growing bylaw sentiment is a reflection of a deeper issue, a generation that feels alienated from the system they were once told would reward them for hard work. The consequences of the bylaw movement are far-reaching. It's not just a social phenomenon, it's an economic one. With young people withdrawing from the workforce and economic opportunities, China is facing the very real possibility of stagnation. The future of the country's economic growth, innovation, and stability depends not just on policy reforms, but on a shift in how China's youth engage with the world. As the bylaw movement continues to spread among China's youth, the government is under increasing pressure to address the economic disengagement that's taking root. In response, Chinese officials are focusing on one of the most pressing issues of 2025, youth unemployment. In response to the growing concerns, the government has launched several economic initiatives aimed at re-engaging the youth workforce. These efforts include creating more job opportunities in both traditional industries and the technology sector, as well as providing financial incentives to businesses that hire young workers. One key initiative is the creation of government-sponsored job fairs across the country, specifically targeting young job seekers. These fairs aim to connect young people with employers across a variety of industries, from manufacturing to tech startups. The government is also offering subsidies and incentives to businesses that create youth-friendly positions. In addition to job creation, the government is also encouraging entrepreneurship among the youth. With new programs designed to help young people start their own businesses, the Chinese government is trying to reignite the spirit of innovation that has driven much of its recent economic growth. At the policy level, the government is also emphasizing the need for youth empowerment. High-ranking officials have repeatedly called for more investment in youth development programs, from leadership training to educational reforms. These efforts aim to build a new generation of young leaders who will take an active role in shaping China's future. In addition to economic and employment reforms, the government is tackling one of the biggest sources of frustration among young people, housing. New initiatives are underway to create affordable housing options for young workers, making it easier for them to settle down in major cities without breaking the bank. The Chinese government is also doubling down on its efforts to foster a digital economy. By supporting tech startups, offering venture capital, and increasing funding for research and development, the government hopes to create a thriving ecosystem where young people can innovate and succeed. While the government's actions are a step in the right direction, many young people remain skeptical. The question remains, will these initiatives be enough to re-engage a generation that feels disconnected from the very system that promised them a better future? The Bailon movement is a clear reflection of this frustration, a silent protest against a system that no longer delivers. In the midst of China's bustling cities, a silent protest is unfolding. It's not happening in the streets, it's happening inside the minds of millions of young people, expressed in social media posts, memes, and hashtags. This is the Bailon movement, a form of resistance that doesn't demand attention, but instead, quietly withdraws from a system that no longer feels worth engaging with. On platforms like Weibo and Xiaohongshu, the term Bailon has taken off, spreading rapidly across social media. Young people are no longer just sharing their frustrations, they're identifying with a movement that resonates with their sense of disillusionment. Bailon has become a way for them to express their hopelessness and resign themselves to a world they feel they can't change. For many, Bailon is not just an expression of frustration, it's a way of coping with a world that has become increasingly hard to navigate. These young people are not just retreating into apathy, they are rejecting the false promises of a system that asks for endless effort without offering the rewards it once did. As Bailon spreads, it's becoming clear that this is not a movement of complete rejection, but rather a reaction to the overwhelming pressures of modern life. It's an act of resistance that refuses to conform, yet it also reflects a desire for change, a change that, for many, feels increasingly impossible to achieve. In university campuses across China, Bailon has become an underlying mood, a cultural shift that's affecting how students view their education and future. Some see it as a way to escape the grind, while others continue to push forward, hoping for a different outcome. Even in the classroom, the effects of Bailon are visible. Students no longer see themselves as participants in a thriving educational system, they see themselves as cogs in a machine that's built to chew them up and spit them out. Rather than protesting outright, many have simply given up on the fight, choosing instead to watch from the sidelines. Bailon isn't about complete surrender. It's about rejecting the system that young people feel no longer serves them. It's about turning away from a cycle that demands more than they can give and instead choosing to exist outside of it, silently protesting the failure of the promises made to them. This growing divide between generations is another factor feeding into the Bailon movement. Many young people feel like their parents' generation had more opportunities, while they are left with fewer paths forward. The sense of injustice is palpable, and it drives the belief that Bailon is the only way to cope with an unfair reality. As the Bailon movement grows, it serves as a silent protest against the systems, policies, and expectations that many young people in China feel trapped by. It's not about raising a voice in anger, it's about choosing to step away, choosing to disconnect from a world that doesn't seem to offer a fair shot. As we stand on the brink of 2025, the question is clear: what comes next for China's youth? Is Bailon simply a passing phase, or is it a sign of something much deeper, a generational shift that will shape the future of China? The reality is, Bailon is not just a passing trend, it's a reflection of the deep frustrations and disillusionment felt by a generation that has been told to work hard for success but is faced with limited opportunities and an uncertain future. It is a movement born not of anger, but of quiet rejection, a generation stepping away from a system they feel no longer works for them. China's leaders know the stakes. If they do not address this growing wave of disengagement, the long-term economic consequences will be severe. The government has already begun rolling out policies to create more jobs, improve education and training programs, and offer financial incentives to businesses. But the real question remains: will these measures be enough to change the mindset of a generation? The Chinese government is stepping up its efforts to provide opportunities, from job creation to entrepreneurship programs. Young people are encouraged to embrace innovation and actively participate in building the future of their nation. But whether these programs will reverse the Bailon mindset depends on their ability to offer more than just temporary fixes. In a country that has witnessed incredible growth, it's clear that China's future is in the hands of its youth. They are the driving force of change, and their engagement in the economy and society is critical for the country's continued success. But for that to happen, the system must evolve. Young people need to feel supported, empowered, and valued. The Bailon movement doesn't have to be the end of the road. If China's youth are given the right opportunities, whether through education, job creation, or support for entrepreneurship, the country could see a new wave of innovation and leadership. But it will take real change, not just promises. The youth of China are not lost, they are searching for a way to believe in the future again. With the right policies and opportunities, the Bailon movement can evolve into a movement of hope, resilience, and transformation. The future of China depends on the next generation. Their potential is untapped, their energy is unmatched, and their ideas have the power to transform the world. But it will take a concerted effort from both the government and society to ensure they can unlock that potential and build a better future. Thank you for watching this in-depth look into China's Bailon movement. If you found this report insightful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more updates on global social movements, economic changes, and the stories of today's youth. As China stands at the crossroads of its future, one thing is clear: the future of this nation is in the hands of its youth. The path they choose will define the country's progress, and the direction they take will shape the world for generations to come. The Bailon movement may have started as a silent protest, but it is evolving into a call for change, a call that demands recognition of the challenges China's youth face. Yet, it's also a movement full of potential, a call to create a better future, one where opportunities are within reach for all. The young people who once felt disconnected from society now have a chance to shape their own future. As they rise from the ashes of frustration, they will be the ones to challenge the old systems, find solutions, and build the next generation of businesses, industries, and leaders. The time for change is now. China's youth must not only be heard, but they must be empowered. It is up to the government, the businesses, and society as a whole to ensure that the next generation has the resources, opportunities, and support to succeed. China's future lies in the hands of its youth, and the choices they make will shape the world for years to come. The next generation has the opportunity to create a brighter future, but they need the support, opportunities, and the will to make it happen. Thank you for watching this deep dive into China's Bailon movement. If you found this video insightful, please like, subscribe, and share for more updates on social movements, global politics, and the future of the world's most dynamic generation. Stay tuned for more.